What I
I
don't
disagree
think,
with your premise.
there were some miscalculations,
I
but
disagree
that's
with
not
your
the,
premise.
that's
What's the
fine, we can disagree.
miscalculation?
Echo
Yeah.
chambers are the bane of our existence.
Well,
Listen,
yeah, they
one
are,
of
but
the
what's the
things,
wait, what's the
one of the,
miscalculation?
no power. Everybody notices what you're doing.
Thank
If you
you.
want me to
Everybody
talk,
notices.
I'm glad you brought that up. You, Mario, are being denounced here publicly as shilling for the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide.
I hate the IRGC. Everybody knows my entire family. Not a single member of my family was even a member.
Do you
Not even
understand my
conscription.
accusation?
Yes, because you listen to other people's gossip and rumors.
No,
Do you have evidence?
Mario.
You're very well read,
proving
Norm. I'm
it
very
is true.
surprised you
You're
haven't even
proving
read it.
I'm surprised at you. I was surprised. I thought you were a nice person. I'm shocked that you would be genocidal regime against your own
You can
people.
say that all you want, Norm. Everybody knows I'm not.
No, actually, everybody suspects that you are.
No.
That's why I'm saying.
You and a few other people say
Now
that.
that we know who you are, and now that we know. Sorry.
Great. Would you like a cookie for that?
But
Everybody
what
knows
has
who I am.
Miriam said? What is
No.
I haven't heard Miriam say anything that was
I'm
not
against the
being
IRGC. I don't even know anything.
Yes, I know. Yes, except you're working for them, right?
I'm not working. Do you have evidence? Norm, we live in the United States. You want to start slandering and defamation here? We can start doing that.
What's your point?
You want to play the game of defamation and slander right now? Because you just made an accusation. You just made an accusation that is a serious accusation.
Yes, I am.
And you'll be hearing from my attorney on that accusation.
Awesome. That would be wonderful. You want to give me her name and number now?
Absolutely.
Let's have a
Listen,
conversation
this,
about it.
what I wanted to say earlier that was relevant.
By the way.
What I was going to say earlier,
Anonymous also?
Norm.
Yeah. Is his name Mr.
Okay, Norm.
So what point did you want to make? Go ahead. Well, I want to hear your point now, Mario.
Look, one of the things that was going on with the strategy behind all of this, you have to go back even from the 80s when Trump wrote his open letter. It was published in the Globe and the Times, but it's about the Tinker Wars, if you remember some of that. So when the assumption was that if a situation would happen, because it had happened even during the Tinker Wars, it wasn't necessarily that Iran definitively was going to do something like this, but the idea that they could existed because of the history that we already had. So Trump's position on all of this, Trump's position on this,
anticipated. Now you're making my
I
point.
said Netanyahu said he did not. I was very explicit with my words.
I see. We didn't.
Number two.
And I doubt your court of Netanyahu as well, because you're unreliable, because you haven't.
That's fine. You can keep doing that, Norm. You're just making the case more and more. Just keep going.
Excellent.
You're actually making it worse for yourself.
Thank you. What do you mean worse for myself?
I don't know. I mean, the defamation, the slander, and now you're like mischaracterizing everything that I said. You're just making your case worse for yourself. You can think that all you want, but you can't make up a lie.
No, I won't.
You made up lies.
She'll literally say she doesn't like the IRGC. She doesn't support him.
Yeah, I know.
She'll literally
Yeah, but Norm also made a big move for himself when he said that I even pay for them and I work for them. You know that's slander, right? No, you said I also got paid for them. Everybody heard it.
Okay, are you losing money now? Do you need some more
I'm
money?
not making any money from this. Are you making money spending 24/7 on this app?
Exactly.
Pushing the propaganda you're doing?
What's your next point, Mario?
Look, the point is, first, and I wish Randy was here for this, didn't really have that much of an issue that sometimes on these social audio apps and these like rooms and these conversations that we think they did. Many of the Americans didn't even realize at the time what was really going on, the extent of it. Only the people that followed, the majority of people who follow geopolitics and news and all that, yes. But the average person, like the neighbor that lives next door to me, didn't really know. They just knew like some kind of war was happening somewhere.
Right to speak for them, Mario. Why do you speak
But I will say
Yeah.
that when the Strait of Hormuz, when that launched and happened, you had Trump going out and doing a speech in front of the American farmers.
When the IRGC illegally...
Because of the issue with fertilizer, you had...
Mario, hang on a second. When the Revolutionary Genocide Corps illegally took hold of international waters, is that what you're referring to?
Norm, you're fighting with the wrong person because I'm the one that's always come out and said that Iran violated the MOU by striking the Assami ship.
Miriam, I'm asking you a question. Are you talking about the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps taking over international waters like pirates illegally? Is that what you're referring to?
Again, I'm the person who says that Iran violated the MOU Article 5 by hitting the
No, I'm talking about.
That is your answer right there. You're intelligent enough. This is not an interrogation. You're intelligent.
Hell, you're not letting her talk. You're jumping from one thing to another.
Anything in my question that you didn't understand, Mario? Understand my question?
I answered your question.
No, I said, did you understand it? Not did you answer it? Did you understand it?
If I answered it, I understood it more.
No, I don't think you did. So I'm asking you again. Did you understand it? Okay, you didn't understand the question. Okay. Any other points? I want to make some generalizations about Americans now.
Well,
Requesting the point that it was the Islamic Military Genocide Corps as a propagandist. Very disappointing, Mariam. Really. Go ahead, Florence.
Yeah, as here is the dynamics. When you talk to L, you have to understand that, he most of
I've
the
known
time-
L for 4 years. I
Yeah.
understand
You
the
don't have to
dynamics.
tell anybody about how to speak to me. You have no point, Florence?
No, yeah.
Okay. All right. If you don't have a point, you don't have a point. What was your next point, Mariam?
Nothing. I just really enjoyed this. It's been a while. You missed me, didn't you?
too. No, I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't think of
that's
you at
so.
all.
Oh.
I believe me, I don't think of you. I don't know. I guess your accounts keep getting canceled because they keep changing.
They don't keep getting canceled. As a matter of fact,
Why do you keep changing?
if you
your
only
name?
knew, Norman.
Why do you keep changing?
It's
your name?
okay. It's okay. Everybody heard it here.
Yes.
Everybody's a witness. You
Yes.
threatened. You defamed me.
No,
You slandered. You slandered me. You slandered me. You defamed
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean,
Yes,
it's not doing-
you lied about me.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
And you came up on the stage and shilled for the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide
I didn't
Corps.
shill for anyone. I just
Well, I
told
think
you I
you
don't
did.
even subscribe to them.
Sorry.
I don't even like them.
I think you did. I think you did.
Yeah,
I don't think I did.
Well, okay.
Honestly,
You keep lying. That's fine.
No, I'm talking about the U.S. policy side, but it's okay,
beg your
Norm.
pardon?
I got what I needed from you. Thank you.
You did.
No,
Excellent. Excellent.
no, and
Yeah.
the thing we have this much audience listening to people. You have to let people talk.
Sure.
Yeah, for the sake.
Absolutely. For the sake of the audience, we're going to let people talk. 100%.
yeah, Ellie, thank you so much. They are crazy people. They are terrorist people. They come to the clubhouse and then they're crazy. They're crazy. They don't know from Iran. You know me? They don't know about Iran. We want to stay U.S. and Israel in Iran. We want to change government. We don't want Islamic Republic Muslim. We want.
So, I think it's wrong. No, I just want to make sure I understand. You're saying that the Iranian people want to be free? Is that what you're saying, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how hard was that? I asked you a yes or no question, I got a yes. And then you have a propagandist on the stage, and you can ask him 20 questions, and you can't get a yes or a no out of them. But don't you think that tells you something about them? And then they run away?
How is she a propagandist? I've talked to her a bunch of times.
I know. Well, I learned.
I was making so much money with DoorDash. I wanted to earn money my free, but I didn't want to go out and get a boring 9 to 5. That's when I found out how much money my friend was making with DoorDash. There are opportunities in over 4,000 cities. Signing up was super
If you've assumed a character beyond your strength, you have played a poor figure in that, and neglected one that is
Wrote
within
his
your
open
powers.
letter. It was published in the
Fellow, you have come to blows at home with a slave. You have turned the household upside down and thrown the neighborhood into confusion. Do you come to me then with airs of assumed modesty? Do you sit down like a sage and criticize my explanation of the readings, and whatever idle babble you say has come into my head? Full of envy and dejected because nothing is sent you from home, and while the discussion is going on, do you sit brooding on nothing but how your father or your brother are disposed? What are they saying about me here? About that? This moment they imagine I am making progress and saying he will return perfectly omniscient. I wish I could become omniscient.
Yeah, also here's the dynamics.
That would be very troublesome. No one sends me anything. The baths at Necropolis are dirty. Things are wretched at home and wretched here. Then they say nobody is any the better for the school. Who comes to the school with a sincere wish to submit his principles to correction and himself to judgment? Who, to gain a sense of his wants? Why then be surprised if you carry home from the school exactly what you bring into it? Epictetus, I have often come desiring
Yeah,
to
also here's the dynamics. When we talk to
given me any
Al,
answer. Now, if possible, I entreat you, say
Wrote
something
his,
to me. Is there, do you think, replied Epictetus, an art of speaking as of other things? If it is be done skillfully and with profit to the hearer, yes. And are all profited by what they hear, or only some among them? So that it seems there's an art of hearing as well as of speaking. A statue needs skill to view a statue, or needs skill also in vision. And I think only will allow that one proposes to hear philosophers speak needs a considerable training in him. Is that not so?
Well, there goes the last of our
subject are you to hear? Why would an evil what a an ox? No, of man. Do we know then what man is? What his nature is? That is the idea we have of him. And our
The surface is
ears
still
practiced in
uninhabitable.
any degree
These
on the
creatures
subject.
come deeper every
Do you
week.
understand what
Primitive
nature
weapons
is?
can't
Can
stop
you
them.
follow me in any
Tell
degree?
Kitover to lie.
Demonstration. Do you understand what demonstration is? What true or false is? Must I drive you to philosophy? Show me what good I am to do by discoursing with you. Rouse my desire to do so. The sight of the pasture that loves stirs in sheep the desire to feed. Shoot a stone and put bread and it remains unmoved. Thus we must also have certain natural desires, and one that moves us to speak when we find a listener that is worth his salt, one that himself stirs the spirit. But if he sits by like a stone or a tuft of grass, how can he rouse a man's desire? Then you will say nothing to me. I can only tell you this, that one who knows not who he is and to what end he was born, what kind of world this is, and associated therein, one who cannot distinguish good and evil, beauty, truth and falsehood, will never follow reason in shaping his desires and impulses and repulsions, nor yet innocent denial or suspension of judgment, but will in one word go about deaf and blind, thinking himself to be somewhat, and then he is in truth of no account. Is there anything new in all this? Is not this ignorance the cause of all the mistakes and mischances of men since the human race began? This is all I have to say to you, and even this against the grain. Why? Because you have not stirred my spirit, for what can I see in you to stir me as a spirited horse will stir a judge of horses? Your body that you maltreat, your dress that is luxurious, your behavior, your look, nothing whatever. When you want to hear a philosopher, do not say you say nothing to me, only show yourself worthy or fit to hear, and then you will see how you will move the speaker. Now, when you see brothers apparently living in accord, do not immediately pronounce anything upon their friendship, though they should affirm it with an oath, though they should declare for us to live apart is a thing possible. For the heart of a bad man is faithless, unprincipled, inconstant. Now, overpowered by one impression, now by another, ask not the usual questions. Were they born of the same parents, reared together and under the same tutor? But ask this only, in what they place their real interest, whether in outward things or in the will. If in outward things, call them not friends any more than faithful, constant, brave, or free. Call them not even human beings if you have any sense. But should you hear that these men hold the good to lie only in the will, only in rightly dealing with the things of sense, take no more trouble to inquire whether they are father been son or brothers or comrades of long standing, but show this one thing pronounced as boldly that they are friends, is that they are faithful and just. For where else can friendship be found than where modesty is, where there is an interchange of things fair and honest, and of such only? No man can rob us of our will, no man can lord it over that.
Also,
Will disease and death overtake me, I would fain be found engaged in the task of liberating mine own will from the assaults of passion, from hindrance, from resentment, from slavery. Thus would I fain be found employed, so that I may say to God, have I in aught transgressed thy commands? Have I in aught perverted the faculties, the senses, the natural principles that thou didst give me? Have I ever laid thee or found fault with thine administration? When it was thy good pleasure, I fell sick, and so did other men, but my will consented. Because it was thy pleasure, I became poor, but my heart rejoiced. No power in the state was mine, because thou wouldst not such power I never desired. Hast thou ever seen me of more doleful countenance? On that account have I not ever drawn nigh unto thee with cheerful look, waiting upon thy commands, attentive to thy signals. Wilt thou that I now depart from the great assembly of men? I go, I give thee all things that thou hast deemed me worthy to take part with thee in this assembly, to behold thy works, to comprehend this thine administration.
elected officials are also speaking.
Subject of my thoughts, my pen, my study, when death overtakes me.
Elected officials are also
Seeming
speaking
that
out
nothing to you,
about
never
women's
to
gambling.
accuse
Now,
them,
Paris
to
is joining
blame
us now in the
them,
newsroom.
to wherever the same countenance in going forth as in coming in. This was the secret of Socrates, yet he never said that he knew or taught anything. Who amongst you makes this his aim? Were it indeed so, you would gladly endure sickness, hunger, aye, death itself. How are we constituted by nature to be free, to be noble, to be modest? For what other living thing is capable of blushing or of feeling the impression of shame, to subordinate pleasure to the ends for which nature designed us, as a handmaid and a minister, in order to call forth our activity, in order to keep us constant to the path prescribed by nature? A husband deals with land, physicians and trainers with the body, the wise man with his own mind. Which of us does not admire what Lycurgus the Spartan did? The young citizen had put out his eye and had been handed over to him by the people to be punished as his own discretion. Lycurgus abstained from all vengeance, but on the contrary instructed him, and made a good man of him, producing him in the public, in the theatre. He said to the astonished Spartans, I received this young man at your hands for the violence and wanton insolence. I restore him to you in his right mind and fit to serve his country. The money changer may not reject Caesar's coin, nor may the seller of herbs, but must, when once the coin is shown, deliver what is sold for it, whether he will or no. So is it also with the soul. Once the good appears, it attracts towards itself, evil repels. But a clear and certain impression of the good the soul will never reject any more than men do Caesar's coin, and this hangs every impulse alike of man and God. This what common sense, as Epictetus replied, as that may be called a common ear which distinguishes only sounds, while that which distinguishes musical notes is not common, but produced by training. So there are certain things which men not entirely perverted see by the natural principle common to all. Such a constitution of the mind is called common sense. Canst thou judge men? Then make us imitators of thyself, as Socrates did. Do this, do not do that, else will I cast thee into prison. This is not governing men like reasonable creatures. Say rather, as God hath ordained, so do, else thou wilt suffer chastisement and loss. Askest thou what lost? None other than this, to have left undone what thou shouldst have done, to have lost the faithfulness, the reverence, the modesty that is in thee. Greater loss than this seek not to find. His son is dead. What has happened? His son is dead. Nothing more, nothing. His ship is lost. What has happened? His ship is lost. He has been hailed to prison. What has happened? He has been hailed to prison. Without any of these things are misfortunes to him. He's an addition with everyone makes of his own, but you say God is unjust in this way. Why? For having given thee endurance and greatness of soul, for having made such things to be no evils, for placing happiness in thy reach even when enduring them. opening unto thee a door with things make not for thy good. Depart, my friend, and find no fault. You are sailing to Rome, and you tell me to obtain the post of governor of Gnosis. You are not content to stay at home with the honors you had before. You want something on a larger scale and more conspicuous. But when did you ever undertake a voyage for the purpose of reviewing your own principles and getting rid of any of them that proved unsound? Whom did you ever visit for that object? What time did you ever set yourself for that? What age run over the times of your life by yourself if you are ashamed before me? Did you examine your principles when a boy? Did you not do everything just as you do now? But when you were a stripling, attending the school of orator, singly out yourself, what did you ever imagine you lacked? And when you were a young man, entered upon public life, leading causes and making a name, who any longer seemed equal to you? At what moment would you have endured another examining your principles and proving that they were unsound? What then am I to say to you, help me in this matter? You cry, ah! For that I have no rule, and neither did you, if that was your object, come to me as a philosopher, but as you might have gone to an herb saddler or a cobbler. What do philosophers have rules for then? Why, that whatever may betide, our ruling faculty may be as nature would have it, and so remain. Think you this a small matter? Not so, but the greatest thing there is. Well, does it need but a short time? Can it be grasped by a passer-by? Grasp it, if you can. Then you will say, yes, I met Epictetus. Just as you might a statue or a monument, you saw me. That is all. But a man who meets a man is one who learns the other. Then my mind, show me yours, and then go and say that you met me. Let us try each other. If I have any wrong principle, rid me of it. If you have, out with it. That is what meeting a philosopher means. Not so. You think this is only a flying visit. While we are hiring the ship, we can see Epictetus too. Let us see what he has to say, then on leaving you cry out on Epictetus for a worthless fellow, provincial and barbarous speech. What else indeed did you come to judge of? Whether you will or not, you are poorer than I. What then do I lack? What you have not constancy of mind, such as nature would have it be. Tranquility. Patron or no patron, what care I? But you do care. I am richer than you. I am not racked with anxiety as to what Caesar may think of me. Flatter none on that account. This is what I have instead of vessels of gold and silver. Your vessels may be of gold, but your reason, your principles, your accepted views, your inclinations, your desires are of earthenware. To you all you have seemed small, to me all I have seems great. Your desire is insatiable, mine is satisfied. See children thrusting their hands into a narrow-necked jar and strive to pull out the nuts and figs it contains. They fill the land, they cannot pull it out again, and then they fall to tears, let go a few of them. And then you can draw out the rest. You too let your desire go. Covet not many things, and you will obtain. Pittacus, wronged by one whom he had it in his power to punish, let him go free, saying, forgiveness is better than revenge. The one shows native gentleness, the other savagery. My brother ought not to have treated me thus, true, but he must see to that. However he may treat me, I must deal rightly by him. This is what lies with me, what none can hinder. Nevertheless, a man should also be prepared to be sufficient unto himself, to dwell with himself alone, even as God dwells with himself alone, shares his repose with none, and considers the nature of his own administration, intends upon such thoughts as are meet to himself. So should we also be able to converse with ourselves, to need none else than side to side, for no distraction, to bend our thoughts upon the divine administration, and how we stand related to all us, to observe how human accidents touched us of old, and how they touch us now, what things they are that still have power to hurt us, and how they may be cured or removed, to perfect what needs perfecting as reason would direct. If a man has frequent intercourse with others, either in the way of conversation, entertainment, or simple familiarity, he must either become like them or change them to his own fashion. A live coal placed next to a dead one will either kindle that or be quenched by it. Such being the risk, it is well to be cautious in admitting intimacies of this sort, remembering that one cannot rub shoulders with a soot-stained man without sharing the soot oneself. What will you do, supposing the talk turns on gladiators or horses or prize fighters, or what is worse, on persons, condemning this and that, approving the others? Or suppose a man sneers or jeers or shows a malignant temper. Has any among us the skill of the lute player who knows at the first touch which strings are out of tune and sets the instrument right? Has any of you such a power as Socrates had in all his intercourse with men of winning them over to his own convictions? Nay, but you must needs be swayed hither and thither by the uninstructed. How comes it then that they prove so much stronger than you? Because they speak from the fullness of the heart. Their low, corrupt views are their real convictions, whereas your fine sentiments are but from the lips outwards. That is why they are so nerveless and dead. It turns one's stomach to listen to your exaltations and hear of your miserable virtue, that you prate up and down. Thus it is that the vulgar prove too strong for you. Everywhere strength, everywhere victory waits your conviction. In general, any methods of discipline applied to the body which tend to modify its desires or repulsions are good for ascetic ends, but if done for display, they betray at once a man who keeps an eye on an outward show, who has an ulterior purpose and is looking for spectators to shout, "Oh, what a great man!" This is why Apollonius so well said, if you are bent upon a little private discipline, wait till you are choking with heat some day, then take a mouthful of cold water and spit it out again and tell no man. Study how to give as one that is sick, that thou mayest hereafter give as one that is whole. Fast, drink water only, abstain altogether from desire, that thou mayest hereafter conform thy desire to reason. Thou wouldst do good unto men, that show them by thine own example what kind of men philosophy can make, and cease from foolish trifling. Eating, do good to them that eat with thee. Drinking, to them that drink with thee. Yield unto all, give way, and bear with them. Thus shalt thou do them good, but vent not upon them thine own evil humor. Even as bad actors cannot sing alone, but only in chorus, so some cannot walk alone. Man, if thou art aught, strive to walk alone, and hold converse with thyself instead of skulking in the chorus. At length think, look around thee, stir thyself, that thou mayest know thou art. You would fain be victor at the Olympic Games, you say, yes, but weigh the conditions, weigh the consequences then, and then only lay to your hand. And if it be for your profit, you must live by rules, submit to diet, abstain from dainty meats, exercise your body perforce in stated hours. In heat or in cold, drink no cold water, nor it may be wine. In a word, you must surrender yourself wholly to your trainer as though to a physician. Then in the hour of contest, you will have to delve the ground. It may chance dislocate an arm, sprain an ankle, go down abundance of yellow sand, be scourged with the whip, and with all this sometimes lose the victory, count the cost, and then, if your desire still holds, try the wrestler's life. Just let me tell you that you will be behaving like a pack of children playing now at wrestlers, now at gladiators, presently falling to trumpeting and on to stage playing. And the fancy takes them for what they have seen. You are even the same, wrestler, gladiator, philosopher, orator, all by turns, and none of them with your whole soul. Like an ape, you mimic what you see, to one thing constant, never. The thing that is familiar charms no more. This is because you never undertook aught with due consideration, nor after strictly testing and viewing it from every side. No, your choice was thoughtless. The glow of your desire had waxed cold. Friend, bethink you first what it is that you would do, and then what your own nature is able to bear. Would you be a wrestler? Consider your shoulders, your thighs, your loins. All men are formed to the same end. Think you to be a philosopher while acting as you do? Think you can go on thus eating, thus drinking, giving way in like manner to wrath and to displeasure? Nay, you must watch, you must labor, overcome certain desires. With your familiar friends, submit to be despised by your slave, to be held in derision by them that meet you, to take the lower place in all things, in office and positions of authority in courts of law. Weigh these things fully, then, if you will, lay to your hand, if as the price of these things you would gain freedom, tranquility, and passionless serenity. He that hath no musical instruction is a child in music. He that hath no letters is a child in learning. He that is untaught is a child in life. Can any profit be derived from these men? Aye, from all. What, even from a reveler? Why, tell me what profit a wrestler gains from him who exercises him beforehand. Very great in the practice of endurance, of controlling my temper, of gentle ways you deny it. What, the man who lays hold of my neck and disciplines loins and shoulders does me good, while he that trains me to keep my temper does me none. This is what it means that knowing how to gain advantage from men is my never bad. Bad to himself, but good to me.
Yeah, also here is the dynamics. When you talk to L, you have to understand that.
Bad to himself, but good to me. This is the one of touch what you will with its say, and it becomes gold. Nay, but bring what you will, and I will transmute it into good. Bring sickness, bring death, bring poverty, and reproach, bring trial.
Elected officials are also speaking out.
All these things through the wrong
Elected officials
shall
are
return to profits. Till then, these sound opinions have taken foot in you, and you have gained a measure of strength for your security. I counsel you to be cautious in associating with the uninstructed, else whatever impressions you receive upon the tablets of your mind in the school will day by day melt and disappear. Wax in the sun, withdraw them somewhere far from the sun while you have these waxen sentiments. We must approach this matter in a different way. It is great and mystical. It is no common thing, nor given to every man. Wisdom alone, it may be, will not suffice for the care of youth. Man needs also a certain measure of readiness and aptitude for the office, aye, and certain bodily qualities. Counseled of God himself to undertake this post, even as he counseled Socrates to fill the post of signing to Diogenes the royal office of high reproof, and to Zeno that of positive instruction. Whereas you would fain set up for a physician provided with nothing but drugs where they should be applied, no care. If what charms you is nothing but abstract principles, sit down and turn them over quietly in your mind. But never dub yourself a philosopher, or suffer others to call you so. Rather say, he is an heir of my desires, my impulses are unaltered, and given my adhesion to what I did before, nor has my mode of dealing with the things of sense undergone any change. And a friend inclined to cynic views asked that what sort of person a true cynic should be, requesting a general sketch of this to me, answered, we will consider that at leisure. And I content myself with saying this much. The man put his hands to so weighty and not God. The wrath of God abides upon him. That which he covets, but bring upon him shame.
Wrote his open letter. It was published in the Globe, and at the time.
And say to himself, I must be master here.
Elected officials are also speaking out about Gorman's killing. Joining us now in the newsroom with that part of the story, Paris.
Yeah, this murder has become a political flashpoint in Chicago, but across the state and country as well. President Trump even weighing in just a few.
Thou art the sun. In thine orbit thou hast power to make the year and the seasons. I'm just trying to become a decrease and rise and fall. Thou canst into measure cherish with thy warmth. Of men, go make thy circuit, and thus minister unto all, from the greatest to the least. Thou canst lead a host against Troy, be Agamemnon. Thou canst meet Hector in single combat, be Achilles. But had Thersites stepped forward and claimed the chief command, he had been met with a refusal, or obtained it only to his own shame and confusion of face before a cloud of witnesses. Others may fence themselves walls and houses when they do such deeds as these and wrap themselves in darkness. They have many a device to hide themselves. Another may shut his door and station one before his chamber to say, if any comes, he has gone forth, he is not at leisure. But the true cynic will have none of these things. Instead, then he must wrap himself up in modesty, else he will bring about himself to shame and naked under the open sky. That is his house, that is his door, that is the slave that guards his chamber, that is his darkness, death. Let it come when it will, but whether it smite but a part or the whole, fly, you tell me fly. But whither shall I fly?
About Gorman's killing.
Now, Paris. The limits of the world, it may not be, and whithersoever I go, there shall I still find sun, moon, and stars. There shall I find dreams and omens and converse with the gods.
Also speaking speaking out about Gorman's killing. Yeah, Paris is joining us.
This might be niche, but we're all my planet people needed that. Because I'm not explaining Blue Rock to people that don't get it. Then you find Facebook event for real. They have lovers, same interests, same conversations. Yeah, these are my people for real.
Trying out a new energy bar recipe. I do not hate these.
I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the word I? Keep going until you stop them. And now they've been stopped. They've been hurt. They are economically hugely and 70% inflation. They are suffering militarily. We've wiped out much of their military abilities. And as a last result, they're acting like pirates, trying to control a waterway near them, like trolls under a bridge. Well, if you come by, we're going to punch you if you don't give us money. It's the last resort. It's sort of a desperate, pathetic, childish. I don't know if they think are proud of it or not. So that's my take. Even if we stop today, I think we will have made our point. And I think they've gotten the point. And I think we are going to hit them and hit them again at will if we get out of line. I'm sorry, if they get out of line. And I think that's an incredibly valuable bit of progress that we've made as a nation, as a free nation. Ultimately, the United States is responsible for freedom of the waterways.